people still hear shrieks in the mountains, like the cackling of the notorious one who, once upon a time, could appear in any shape she wished. Spearfinger was her name, and she was a master of disguise. She could look like your friend, like a fish, or a bird, or a mouse, or like the kindest person you had ever known. But beneath those many disguises, she was a monster whom no one could harm. Arrows, knives, and rocks bounced off of her body, for it was made of stone. Parents warned their children. "Stay in the lodge," they said. "Utlunta," for that is what they called her, "is on the trails looking for children like you." But children do not always listen. She was most dangerous in the autumn, for those were the days when she could walk out of the mountains, hidden in smoke from the brush fires and bonfires. One day, late in October, out of that smoke she appeared, disguised as an old woman. "Please help, I need rest," she said to a group of children sitting around a smoky fire, and no one knew that beneath her blowing cape she hid her dangerous stone finger. The children only saw a withered old woman, and naturally they offered her a seat. And then she smiled at a little girl. "Sit on my lap, and I will brush your hair," she said. The innocent girl sat upon her lap, and then, with her special stone finger, Spearfinger stabbed the child's side. The girl never felt a thing. Later, the girl walked home, and that night she grew very sick. Then the villagers knew Spearfinger had struck again. The next day, a little boy fell, and a kindly old woman swooped in and said, "Oh, come to me, and I'll kiss away your pain." The little boy ran into the woman's arms, never suspecting that this was Spearfinger. Sometimes, after she had attacked a child, she took on that child's appearance. She skipped home, and there in the lodge she stayed until dark, when she could attack other children before she disappeared back into the mountains. When one village was warned, Spearfinger hurled boulders onto other boulders and created bridges from one mountain to the next. She traveled across the land this way, striking villages when they did not expect her. Now and then a hunter spotted her up in the mountain peaks, eagles, her only companions, soaring overhead, but no one could stop her. Month after month, year after year, she struck at the children. At long last, the people called a grand council. "We must stop her," they agreed, and the medicine men spoke. "She comes in disguise, and she is drawn to smoke, and she sings, and her flesh is stone. There is only one way to catch her. We will dig a pit, and we will cover it with brush, and we will chase her until she falls into our trap." "And then what?" the people asked. "Somehow we will find a way to rid ourselves of her forever," the medicine men answered. And so they made a huge bonfire, and sure enough, when Spearfinger saw the smoke, she cackled and came down into the village, leaving a trail of stones and shattered brush in her wake. When the medicine men saw her coming, they cried to the young men, "Run! She must chase you!" "But that isn't her," one young man said. "That's only an old woman." Some said they recognized her, and they were confused. "She looks helpless," they protested, standing still. One of the medicine men threw his spear, and when it hit her stone body, it shattered. Then the young men understood this was no human being. Spearfinger shrieked and wagged her stone finger at them. Then she rushed forward. The young men ran, and Spearfinger chased them. Just as the medicine men had planned, she did not see the pit and so she fell, howling as she had slid to the bottom. She was trapped in the pit, and everyone shot arrows at her, but nothing could pierce her flesh. "I'll get you, all of you," she screamed as she collected all the spears and arrows and began to climb out of the pit. "What will we do?" the people wailed. That's when the birds came. Only two, the titmouse and the chickadee. They flew through the smoke, and the people called out, "How do we kill her?" The titmouse sang, "Un, and the villagers thought it was singing heart, so they aimed at the place where they thought her heart must be. Spearfinger laughed as arrows bounced off her chest. "Liar!" the warriors cried at the titmouse and struck at it. The titmouse flew away and vanished forever, but the chickadee flew to the witch's hand, and there it sang. So the people aimed at that hand, and true enough, that was where Spearfinger's heart was. One more howl, and the people watched as Spearfinger sank to the ground, dead at last. Way up in the mountains, another creature made of stone skin, heard Spearfinger's shriek echoing off every peak, and later, when he saw her hand impaled on a post, he knew what had happened. And he also understood that he, too, had been warned, but he only shrugged. Today, the Cherokee honor the chickadee, calling it truth-teller. But sometimes, on a chilly, misty night in October, if you listen closely, you will hear a shriek coming from the mountains, and you must wonder if the sound comes from Stone Skin, and if he will strike again, and where. Thank you very much for listening to this recording. It's a new experiment with reading mythology. This particular piece is the tale of Spearfinger, which is a Cherokee folktale. And I appreciate your support and listening. And if you would like to see more of my work other than narration, I highly encourage you to check out my Etsy store, which will be provided in the description below. And once again, thank you very much, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Like, subscribe. Thank you.